Currently, there's a hero that is in Overwatch that has an ability so powerful, it's seemingly unfair. And this character has more pick rate than any other character right now for its role, and is completely dominant at every rank, even in the highest ranks of play. This is Cassidy, and of course I'm referencing his magnetic grenade, and this character is ridiculous, completely busted, and we're going to talk about how this came to be, where we should go from here, and should you be just abusing this character? Spoiler alert, yes you should be. But yeah, smash that like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, and let's get into it. Now right now, Cassidy is being picked the most out of every single DPS, and it's not close. Like, second place at the vast majority of ranks is less than half the pick rate of Cass in most cases. This character is being picked a ton, and why is that so? Is this character actually all that good? Well, the short answer is yes, he's actually completely busted. But the reality of Cass is that the numbers have lined up to the point where this character just makes sense to play. Not only does he have an increase in health, which just makes him a little bit self-sufficient, but his role is going to give him a 50% damage reduction, further increasing his survivability. Add to that high amounts of burst damage and the ability to pick off someone that is out of position with a simple body shot and a headshot, and a freaking grenade, we'll talk about that more in a second, that fully rounds out this character as the ultimate ranked machine. And right now, getting Grandmaster on DPS is easier than ever if you are abusing Cassidy, because Cassidy is freaking insane. You don't need incredible mechanical skill. You don't even need to go for crazy plays. You just need to exist, play near your team, look for players out of position and punish them, or players that are pushing aggressive angles and punish them, and shut down enemy plays with your grenade that doesn't even take any skill. So this character is completely absurd. But let's talk specifically about the grenade. How did we get to this point? What is so good about grenade, and why is it just the most absurd ability that we've seen in a while? Well, we've used to have a stun on Cassidy, but as of Overwatch 2, they took away a lot of the CC from the majority of roles, although they did keep it with some exceptions. They kept boop, they kept some amount of slowing CC, but not stun CC, except for something like Sleep Dart, for instance. And Cassidy lost his stun, and he got it replaced with a tracking grenade that sticks to a target and will do 1 damage on impact and then 130 damage to the explosion. So you hit someone in the body from a close enough range, you stick them with a grenade, and the vast majority of squishies in the game just get insta-killed. And there's actually so many problems with grenade that it's hard to count them all. The first one is with the desync in the game. Oftentimes grenade will do some really weird things that make no sense. It will go around corners, it will go through walls, it will chase players freaking flying at the speed of light, and it will still stick to them. Grenade just doesn't care. Like, it just does random stuff, and you'll die to it even though it feels like you shouldn't die to it. In addition to that, grenade is low risk, high reward. The grenade is tracking. It's pretty hard to miss if you're ever going to miss, and it's on a really small cooldown. So you just get to throw it out at anyone that's close to you. And if you manage to get any kills without grenade, then grenade becomes that much more powerful because it threatens like an insta-kill potential. And while, yes, it doesn't stun people like the old stun did in the past, most of the time, it's going to be just as strong, if not stronger, because it insta-kills people, and you don't have to aim or follow up with it. Now, I'm not arguing in defense of having a CC on Cassidy or having a stun grenade on Cassidy. I'm only arguing against having a tracking grenade. And the biggest thing that I want to talk about against this ability is not even the damage, the ridiculous damage, or the fact it's on a low cooldown. It's the fact that it doesn't take skill to use. And not every single ability in the game have to take skill. Like, there's a lot of abilities in the game that don't take skill, but especially with Cassidy, when the vast majority of his kit is pretty simple. Point and click, roll, and a high noon that auto locks on for you. Why not give him an ability that doesn't give him free value, that actually needs a certain amount of skill expression in order to get more value out of it, and something that isn't as simple as, I'm looking at you, you're near me, I'm throwing this, and it's gonna track onto you. And it doesn't require me to aim. It doesn't require me to hit criticals. It doesn't require me to follow up with my primary fire. All that is required of me is to press my ability button, and that's it. And all of this wouldn't be the biggest problem if Cassidy was some C tier, D tier character in the game. Some character that wasn't strong enough to compete at the top of the meta or even as a mainstay in the majority of ranks, but that's just not the case with Cassidy. Cassidy is like the strongest DPS in ranked, and it's not even close, as reflected by his pick rate. And it's just that Cassidy is just the best thing that you could be doing. Like, when I climbed on my DPS role to GM1 this season, every single time I played another character, which I tried to play Tracer and Genji a lot and other DPS characters, I always felt like I had to do so much more to get the same amount of value that I could just AFK on Cassidy and get. And that's not an exaggeration. This character doesn't require great aim. I don't have great aim. Didn't really matter as far as getting a ton of value on the hero. This character is really, really strong, doesn't take a lot of skill to play, and is completely dominant right now. Now, that isn't to say that we should just neuter Cassidy, nerf him, and make him bad again. Because the thing is, Cassidy is sitting on this fine line right now where if you nerf him too hard, or if you nerf him really at all, he gets outranged by a lot of characters. Ashe, Widowmaker, Hanzo. He can get dove on by many characters. And I think that there's certain aspects of his kit that should remain. Specifically, the fact that he has, you know, potentially more survivability, whether that means keeping his health, keeping his roll, that decreases damage, things like that. And having that precise aim where you can hit a couple of dinks and start rolling through the enemy team, because that's sick and that requires skill, and it really plays into the sharpshooter aspect of Cassidy. But I think the things that should be the most in question, of course, is the grenade. Obviously, the grenade. Because it makes no sense. It's vastly broken. The ability is, like, dumb by design, and it doesn't fit the lore, which might not matter, but I thought I would throw it in there. And his Fan the Hammer could also be looked at as something that could be changed. And I think that overall, giving Cassidy a specific identity that's strong, but removing this one-shot BS ability from the game, because it's just silly. And it's not just about Cassidy as well, because Cassidy is already on the chopping block. He might get changed pretty soon. And if you want to climb, by the way, you should be abusing this character, so get it in while the getting's good if you really want to get that free SR. But specifically, it's not just about Cassidy. It's about every single new character and new ability added to the game. Abilities should have a minimum value where you don't need a huge amount of skill to get value out of it, but there should be levels. This is something that I've always argued as far as design is concerned. Give characters more abilities that have skill expression built in. Don't allow someone to get to a huge amount of value without having a certain amount of skill, and have it kind of gradually increase. Now, I'm not saying every single ability can have that, but especially for the DPS role, and honestly, for as many characters and roles as you could put it in, don't always default to something that is auto-locking, free value, instant value, where all you have to do is press a button at the right time and it's good. Make it so that there is mechanical skill attached to that. And I think that will remove a lot of this frustration, because then it feels more earned. Then when you get stuck by a grenade, it feels like you were outplayed. And I think that Blizzard got so caught up in this no CC philosophy that they ignored their other philosophy, which is mechanical skill will be very important, and top tiered characters will have mechanical skill at the forefront. And I do think that that is an important philosophy that they said that they were going to follow, but doing this or adding this or having abilities like this doesn't really follow that same philosophy. But you let me know how you feel about Cassidy, how you feel about Cassidy Grenade. How do you feel about the balance in the game overall, and what other abilities or characters do you think are absolutely absurd? Let me know in the comments down below, but thank you so much for coming by. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.